Hello, I'm Coco. The organism that I want to talk about is polar bear. The first part is about its name. Polar bear's scientific name is Ursus maritimus in Latin, means sea bear. This name is suitable for polar bear because it dominantly lives on sea ice. This type of bear is commonly called polar bear because it lives on the North Pole. The second part is global distribution. Where is polar bear found? Polar bears are forever linked to the Arctic sea ice, where they hunt their seal prey. The bears are found in 5 nations: the US, Canada, Russia, Greenland, and Norway. This is a location map for the population of polar bear. We can see polar bears separate around the Arctic regions. Then comes to its habitat. Polar bears can only be found in the polar ecosystem of the Arctic. Polar bears are found in the tundra biome, which is the coldest of all biomes. The tundra biome is quite big and is about 1/5 of the whole land on Earth. Tundra means a treeless plain. It is located in the Arctic Circle, which is a hypothetical circle surrounding the North Pole. Key facts about polar bear. This is the classification to identify polar bear. From kingdom to species, there are 7 levels. We can see the size of polar bears from the graphs below. Polar bears are the largest bear species and the biggest land carnivores in the world. They are usually 3.5 to 5 feet, about 1 to 1.5 meters tall at the shoulder on all fours. But an adult male may reach more than 10 feet, about 3 meters, when standing on its hind legs. Polar bears can live 20 to 30 years, but only a small percentage of polar bears live past 15 to 18 years. The oldest known polar bear in the Arctic lived 32 years. The oldest known polar bear in a zoological park lived 45 years. This is the general description of polar bear. Polar bear is a kind of bear which lives in the coldest Arctic regions. It has white thick fur, big body with small head. It has round ears, black and small eyes, and huge paws. These two bears are the close relatives of polar bear. The first one is the black bear. It also called American bear, the most common bear, found in the forests of North America, including parts of Mexico. And the next one is the brown bear. It's shaggy-haired bear, native to the Europe, Asia, and northwestern North America. Lifestyle of polar bear. Some types of seals found in the Arctic are hooded seals, ringed seals, harp seals, and beard seals. Polar bears eat them all, as seals are their main prey. Unlike other bear species, polar bears are almost exclusively meat eaters. They mainly eat ringed seals, but may also eat beard seals. Adult polar bears have no natural predators, except other polar bears. Cubs less than 1 year old sometimes are prey to wolves and other carnivores. Newborn cubs may be cannibalized by malnourished mothers or adult male polar bears. The niche of a polar bear is very specialized. These Arctic animals have no natural predators. Polar bears are carnivores and catch seals. The majority of seals caught are not on water nor land, but at the interface of the two, or water and land. Polar bears spend a majority of their time in the water. Polar bears obviously cannot swim forever, since they require ice to rest from time spent traveling and hunting. Polar bears' cubs are raised in snow dens, since these animals also require snow in order to raise their young. The reproduction of polar bear. Adult polar bears are solitary, but not antisocial. They actively seek mating partners in the late spring and early summer. The behaviors to attract a mate. Males seek out females by following their scent. Two males may fight over a female. Polar bears couple are only together for about a week before they separate. The male may then seek out another mate. Female polar bears prefer stronger males. Male polar bears will have intense competitions, fight with another male to win the female. Female polar bears reach sexual maturity at about 4 to 5 years. Male polar bears reach sexual maturity at about 6 years. Most male polar bears don't successfully mate until 8 to 10 years and older. Their gestation time maintains about 8 months, 195 to 265 days. Polar bears generally give birth to between 1 and 4 cubs at a time. 2 cubs or twins are the most common, followed by single births. Although litters of 3 or 4 cubs are indeed very possible, they are not very common. The difference between male and female polar bears is the size. Male polar bears are typically larger than females, growing to a length between 8 and 10 feet, while females are only 6 to 8 feet long. Their size difference is even more noticeable in their weight. While a male may weigh between 550 pounds to 1,700 pounds, a female only grows to between 330 pounds to 650 pounds. Adaptations. Adult polar bears vocalize most when they are angry or threatened. Sounds include hissing, growling, champing of teeth, and chewing. For example, like mothers warn cubs with a chewing sound. There are also other communications through sight, touch, and smell. For example, like a male polar bear play fighting by approaching another male with its head down, mouth closed. The bear usually make contact by gently touching or mouthing each other around the face and neck. They then proceed to rear up on their hind legs and try to push each other over with their forepaws. A mother polar bear can comfort, protect, or punish her cubs by using her body or paws. These are the physical characteristics help the polar bears survive. A white appearance, as a camouflage from prey on the snow and ice. Thick layers of fat and fur, for insulation against the cold. A small surface area to volume ratio, to minimize heat loss. A greasy coat that sheds water after swimming, to help reduce heat loss. How polar bears adapt to the change of environments. While polar bears have shown some ability to adapt to the changes in their surroundings as sea ice decreases, for example, by foraging for food on land, scientists project polar bears will become more food-stressed as sea ice decreases and populations will decline. Polar bears' interactions with humans. Is polar bears abused by humans? For the last several decades, hunting has been the greatest known cause of polar bear mortality. Today, polar bears are hunted by native Arctic populations, primarily for food, clothing, handicrafts, and sale of skins. Polar bears are also killed in defense of people or property. Do people have myths or prejudice about this species? No myths or prejudice, but in psychology, polar bear is a symbol of a kind of personality called ISTJ. Because polar bears are strong and determined, they are at the top of their food chain, and just like ISTJs, they can enjoy being the boss. To hunt for food, they have to learn and perfect their skills. ISTJs also like to perfect their skills and then use them throughout their life. Polar bears can spend a lot of time on their own and be perfectly happy while in their own company. Polar bears are endangered. The first reason polar bears are endangered is because of human influence. Human beings kill polar bears and pollute the environment, causing global temperatures to rise and sea levels to rise, so that the polar bear's habitat is greatly reduced. Second, humans drove polar bears to extinction. Starvation is the greatest threat to subadult polar bears. Subadults are inexperienced hunters and often are chased from kills by larger adults. Older, weaker bears also are easily affected to starvation. Also, disease and parasitism will cause extinction. Polar bears are especially affected by the parasitic roundworm, Trichinella, which they contract by feeding on infected seals. Trichinella larvae can be involved in various parts of the polar bear's body, usually muscle tissue. Efforts made by humans for protection. The US government released a plan that could save the Arctic's most iconic creature, the polar bear. The Polar Bear Conservation Management Plan, which focuses on actions for the two U.S. subpopulations in Alaska and was introduced by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, stresses the importance of climate change, migration in the curbing the loss of the polar bear's sea ice habitat. This page is about the work cited. These are the links. And that's all. Thank you for watching.